Welcome to FV TV, and today we have with us the Grand Master of Freemasons Victoria, Richard Elkington. Hello, Richard.
Hello, Ash. How are you? Hope you're as bonzer as I am.
Yes, I am bonzer.
It's another beautiful day here in Gippsland.
It's a good day everywhere.
It is.
Now, we're in the middle of the lockdown of the COVID-19. Melbourne's in stage 4, country Victoria's in stage 3. What's it like to be Grand Master in unprecedented times?
Well, it's interesting, actually. I'm absolutely flat out. A typical day for me would be at least 3 to 4 Zoom meetings during the day and then a Zoom meeting, lodge meeting at night. And so today, for example, I have had a Zoom meeting already with the Joint Orders Working Party. That's the market, chapter and craft, talking about sort of avenues for cooperation and sort of sharing services. There was an MOU signed back in 2018, pledging that we'd actually work together more closely. And that's one thing I do. Last night I had a board meeting, which went for 4 hours.
That's a long time. 4 hours for a meeting.
4 hours. Well, lots of important things to talk about, Ash.
Well, tell us about some of those things, because when you were installed at the end of June, you made a speech, and in that speech you told members that there would be more openness and transparency about the board. What's the board doing?
Well, there's lots of things we talk about. And typically a board meeting would consist of a report from the Grand Secretary, so a Masonic Services report. And he reports typically about Masonic things that are occurring in his space, including district coordinators report, things like membership statistics, meetings of various teams within his sphere. So we get a lot of the detail in the Masonic part of the organisation. We have a report from Frank Warner, the commercial services, about particularly property, finance. And this is a very particular awkward time financially for us. So we spent a lot of time last night talking about the budget for 2021 and the challenges for our organisation in achieving financial viability. That is a balanced budget. We talked about last night property matters, some important property matters to be determined. Not the least, of course, is I guess the issue of the Eastbourne. There's rental space available at Box Hill and Bayside. We talked about potential sale of a couple of properties. We're looking at clarifying ownership status of temple lodge buildings right around Victoria. And so, I guess to most members, this sort of stuff is boring, maybe boring. I must admit, I find it all very exciting. I find it exciting. And we talked about progress on our 2017 to 2025 strategic plan.
Yeah.
We haven't been. We know basically we haven't been back to the members on that strategic plan for some considerable time. So we looked at the progress we'd made. In fact, we've made.
Well, I guess we're about midpoint of that strategic plan, and it's wise for any organisation to stop for a moment and see how we're going according to the roadmap.
So if there's one thing a board should be looking at apart from risk, it's strategic planning to define the vision for the organisation and the pathway to getting there. And we'll be working together as a board in the next couple of months to test some of the strategies and the actions that were forecast in the strategic plan, and then moving on to prepare an operational plan, or asking the operation to prepare its own plan for rolling a lot of those initiatives out.
I guess a lot of the key performance indicators go out the window when we have a state that's in lockdown.
Well, some of them do. For example, we're not doing many initiations, obviously.
Yeah.
But things like recruitment of potential new members, when we're still finding, for example, that men, particularly young men, are really interested in joining our fraternity. A throwaway line, 2 weekends ago, we had 30 applicants apply in 2 days on the weekend.
They're good, healthy numbers, aren't they?
It's to join our organisation. In fact, that was one of the things I'm really concerned about in terms of our behaviour towards each other, exhibiting brotherly love, is that we can offer counsel, support to men who are our members. We provide an environment of support and sharing and caring. And so it's important that we maintain contact with our members through this COVID-19 situation to show that we really do believe in the principles and act according to the principles of our organisation.
Now, the performance of the organisation, how we conduct ourselves, behaviour, how we cooperate together, work together, is very important to you.
Absolutely.
And what do you think Freemasonry is going to look like in 12 months' time, in August 2021?
Well, there's a couple of responses to that. Firstly, I have initiated a review of the way our organisation behaves, conducts itself, its governance. Issues like Masonic behaviour will be canvassed in that particular review. But more importantly, and this is an issue which the membership have some sight of already, and that is we established a Masonic behaviour committee. I think it was back in May, June, with Gary Brad, Peter Henschel, Giulio Migliaccio, and Barry Reaper, to look at issues relating to Masonic behaviour. And there's a number of factors here. One of the factors is, do we emphasise as an organisation, do we put enough emphasis on Masonic education so that we actually clearly understand the teachings, principles and values of our organisation? Because we often talk about, Masonic brotherly love is one of the foundation principles, but do we actually know what it means? Do we actually understand the responsibilities we have towards each other as Freemasons? And then if we did understand that, would we see the sorts of behaviour that we see in some of our lodges? I think the potential is that we will be. I mean, I recently interviewed on my Saturday morning radio program in Gippsland the president of the ACTU and the chief executive of VECI, the employers group in Victoria. And the president of the ACTU commented that, this might surprise you, but we're actually seeing an increase in membership. More men and women are approaching unions to join, to be part of a network, to be part of an organisation that they believe cares for them.
Well, difficult times bring people together.
Well, they do, and this is the same thing's happening in the business space. You'd think that if you're in financial trouble and you had discretionary spend, one of the things you might actually do is suspend your business membership. But no, they're not. They're staying. And so there's an opportunity for us, if we truly behave in the way we are taught, that we can actually attract new members, because we'll have seen to have been relevant, not only to each other but to society. We will have a proper place in the Victorian community where we care for each other.
Richard, just to finish up, looking around the state, around Freemasonry in Victoria, what's the mood? How do you see it?
Actually, what I'm encouraged by, I pledged to myself I wouldn't be doing installing in the first 3 or 4 months anyway, and that's...
Well, your dream came true there, didn't it?
It did come true. I wanted to go around and talk to and listen to the concerns of members, and I'm probably talking to a couple of hundred members a week. What I'm actually finding is a great deal of enthusiasm, particularly for understanding each other. And what we can do on Zoom, we probably didn't do at normal lodge meetings, was talk about each other's concerns, learn and understand about each other as individuals. And so we're doing a lot of that.
They're deeper conversations, aren't they?
Deeper conversations. I'm getting a lot of ideas, lots of ideas about, gee, how can we make our lodge meetings more relevant? How can we improve the member experience? And so we're getting a lot of ideas about improving, of course, and in fact I'll encourage more of that because many lodges don't understand, I believe, the power that they have already to change. They don't need approval from me or from the board or from the Grand Secretary. There's lots of things they have the ability to change themselves. And I'd encourage districts, lodges to have discussions about what are the opportunities for improvement in the way that we do things, because you might find a lot of those things you can do anyway. Or we might actually consider changing protocols and procedures to allow them to happen. Of course, when we do return, it might seem like a long way off, but when we actually do return to some sort of normality post-COVID-19, I suspect many lodges will take advantage of an opportunity to meet on Zoom for issues like Masonic education and for business reasons. So actually, there's an opportunity to bring in your members who might actually live remotely. So I actually think that we did, as I said earlier in the week, 12 months ago nobody had heard of it, and now this might actually become part of the way we do business in future.
Yes. Richard, thank you for sharing your time with us today. I hope we can do a
Pleasure.
lot more of these.
Well, I hope so.
And the mood is optimistic, isn't it?
It is. I think it is very optimistic, and so it should be. This is a great organisation doing great things, and we need to acknowledge some of those great things we're doing, but there are opportunities to make them even better. And that's what I'm here to oversee, if you like, that we actually improve as an organisation and increase our relevance to men in the Victorian community.